A little bit about where we're going and what does the research say that you did?
So, I think first thing is no one has the right answer. So globally, everybody from deans of Harvard, Stanford, they're all putting their hand up and saying we don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 years. And it's the first time we've heard people say that ever. Economies tend to move in these kind of large, lumbering 50-year cycles.
Yeah.
And they thought that in 2000, when the sort of first dot-com boom crashed, that was the end of a cycle. It was a new one, but then there's another crash in 2008.
Yeah.
And there's these sort of mini tsunamis along the way. So there's this general sense of we don't know what's happening, but we understand kind of the reasons why it's happening.
Yeah. You're traveling all over the continent all the time. The outlook for Africa, we of course know places like Rwanda, Kigali and the like, that they're up to speed, but is it dawning on the African continent?
No, I think so. I mean, I think in many ways, if you talk to Africa, talk to other emerging markets, there's this sort of concept of their ability to be able to sort of rapidly adopt new technologies, new ways of doing business because there's nothing impeding them. You remember going back to the early 90s, there were more cell phones or more fixed line phones in Manhattan than there were across the entire African continent.
Yeah.
15 years later, there are more cell phones in Africa than any other part of the world.
Yeah.
So because there was no impeding infrastructure, we were able to leapfrog the status quo, look at new technology, go, that solves a problem. There was nothing standing in our way, so we adopted it and we ran. And we're seeing that sort of process unfold across many different parts of Africa and also many different parts of the world.
Is this an opportunity for humanity to take a giant leap forward, both technologically, of course, economically, but also on a sort of deeper spiritual level? You're talking about some of our viewers saying, yeah, let the computers work and we'll stay at home. So
there's two competing theories. There's this sort of general concept called near zero marginal cost. So the cost of everything is reducing down rapidly. So typically, the cost of producing a car costs you $5,000 to produce. The next one's kind of also going to cost you $5,000. But in other industries, for example, if you look at online purchasing or mobile technology or data, the cost of an additional purchase, there's very little additional cost to it. So you get these crazy profits. But that's happening in a lot of different areas. The cost of energy production is coming down. We're finally tapping into natural resources in a more efficient way. The cost of logistics is coming down. So there's this idea that the cost of everything is sort of tending towards zero, which in theory means that the cost of living should also drop.
Down,
But it's not. It's going up. So you've got this real imbalance in terms of the actual cost of things is coming down, but the cost of living is going up, and profits are being taken out of the system.
Ooh, who's driving that?
So there's this view that if you go sort of just geared towards Silicon Valley, there was this view that all of these sort of what they call unicorns, these fantastic companies like be it Uber or Facebook, as they're coming up, they're going to take on capitalism. And they're going to create a new economic system. But in reality, what seems to have happened is they've been consumed by capitalism. Because in one way or another, they've all IPO'd, they've all sold their shares, they've all listed. So their primary goal is no longer a social goal or a personal goal or to help people, it's to pay shareholders.
Let's come back to Africa quickly, because I just want you to point out to us, where are the sort of hubs? I'm thinking, where are the technological hubs on the continent that's going to drive us forward in the next 20 years?
I think let's talk about where they are and why they are where they are. So potentially, and I say potentially Johannesburg, it's a bit late to the game, but it's getting there. Stellenbosch in the Cape, Nairobi, Kigali, parts of Lagos, and probably parts of Kampala in Uganda as well. Ethiopia, and very quietly, places like Cairo.
We see the likes of China and India really driving artificial intelligence, really driving robotics and so forth. What is it that we're going to bring, you think?
Okay, so we're in a position now, probably for the first time since the dawn of humanity, where wherever you are and whoever you are, you can access technology cheaply, you can access ideas and information, not even your own. You can access the logistics to be able to get them to where you are, and you can access the labor force in other parts of the world. So the ability to be able to conceive, develop, and deliver a product has been de-linked to location. So it doesn't matter where you are in theory, if you have the right conditions, you can create this. So what's started to happen is that African economies have started to realize this and take advantage of that in a very, very real way.
What else should we be on the lookout for? And is there a fear that inequality could become worse?
I think there is. I mean, I think the